And I am live. Okay, first time I've tried this out, doing it on my own. Jess normally handles all the technical stuff. But either way, I'm here trying this out. I think this is something I'm going to try and do every Monday. And I'm going to jump on, play a solo board game. I'm testing out a few different things that I'm wanting to play anyway, so it works out quite nicely, I think. I have decided that I'm going to try and play Fromage today. Fromage is one of the newer games that we've picked up. We got it at UK Games Expo this year. Obviously it only happened last week. I'm trying it out now because I think it's going to be a game that we're going to cover on Boards and Banter coming up, so we're going to have probably a full-on review of this. Mostly because I really like cheese, and who can resist a game all about cheese? So yeah, I thought I'd give this a go today, test it out, see if I actually like playing it, see what it's like. I've never played it before. This is genuinely the first time I'm sitting down to play it. So I think I'm just going to jump in and start. I might be referring to the rulebook as we go, which I have trustily to hand just to the side. I might actually just keep this on the table so I can grab it as and when I need to. But yeah, the basics of the game are you are a small town French cheesemaker selling your wares across France, and you'll be using these wonderful little people. I've chosen this little red guy here. He's got a great moustache and a great hat. You use these to take your actions throughout the game on the different sections of the board, which rotates and will turn to face you as you go through the game. This is the section I am starting from. So I'm playing against the Corporation solo mode here, which has a difficulty level of 1 star because, like I said, this is my first time playing the game and I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm probably going to make a lot of mistakes as I go through this, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm going to jump in and just start playing. The Corporation always takes the first move of the round, and then I will get to then do my moves after that. Normally you'd be playing this simultaneously, so everybody would have one quadrant of the board facing them, and you would take your actions in that section of the board. With the solo mode, myself and the AI are going to be taking actions in the same section of the board. And I think it's got a wonderful little mechanism where, for instance, if I wanted to make this cheese here, you then cover it with the correct worker. That's a hard cheese, so you use your hard cheese worker. When the board spins, when that worker is then facing you again, you get to take it straight back, and you have now made that cheese on the board, which I think is a great mechanism. But what it does mean is anything that is rated bronze, you will get back the very next turn. So 1 turn and it'll be here facing you. Silver things are going to take 2 turns, so you'll only get it back once it's on the opposite side of the board. Gold things, it's going to have to turn all the way until it's in this section, facing you again, and then you get to take it back. But yeah, that is the basics of how it plays. Like I said, I've not really played this before. I've just had a quick skim of the rulebook to learn how to play it. So I think I'm just going to jump in and basically see what happens. I have the scoreboard down here, which lets you know all the things you score for. So each of the different sections of the boards scores in slightly different ways. But I'll probably cover that when we get to the end of it, because it's not really going to affect that much right now. So yeah, let's just jump in. So with regards to the solo mode, what happens first is the corporation draws one of the cards here, which I think are the order cards, and then using the leftmost cheese, it will complete that order if possible. And I'm probably going to butcher some of these French pronunciations here. So their current order is to make the Fromage d'Ambert, which is apparently an eggy cheese with distinct notes of heavy cream. But for the purpose of the game, it is a blue cheese, and it is of a gold standard. So all I'm doing is looking on here to find any blue cheese that is gold, which is only this one here. Unfortunately for the corporation, it doesn't need to make jam to make that one, so that piece will just go straight slotted in there, and it has completed that order. I'm not sure what I do with the orders actually after it's completed it. Let's have a quick look. Oh, the order card will get discarded. I told you I was probably going to have to check the rulebook here. So I'm going to discard all the order cards over here for now. If I run through them all, I'll shuffle them together and put them back in. In setup, the game recommended sorting all these into even piles across both the resource trays. I think that's so you can have them across on opposite sides of the board, so everybody has good access to get at all the resources available. But it is now my turn. So I'll talk about how each one scores based on well, when I get to each section, I'll basically talk about how it scores. So the bistro, you score based on how many pairs you've created at tables. So if you don't have any, you'll still score some points for the plates, but it's better to get pairs. So I think I don't really want to be looking at creating anything on this table right now, because it doesn't help me in the long run. I do, however, have a fruit available on my board, which I got at the beginning of the game. Actually, I think I might have done this. I was slightly wrong. I think I'm supposed to have 2 fruits and 1 building. Sorry, 1 cow from where I am currently situated. Oh, sorry, 1 animal. Like a little sheep. Because yeah, you get 2 resources from the section to your left and 1 resource from the section across from you. So based on where I've started, that's what I should have collected. So, but yeah, because I've got a fruit here, I think I'm going to create a fruity cheese. So that gets moved to this section of the board. I'll explain this while I'm here actually. The fruits and jams will score at the end of the game based on what you have. So it's the number of fruit cheeses you've created times by the number of jams you've created will give you points at the end of the game. But yeah, I'm going to create this cheese here. So I've used one of my fruit. I pop that in there. And then because it's a blue cheese, I have to use my blue cheese worker, which which I'll just slot on top of it. I can also choose to gain something off here as well, so you can always use a worker in this section. As far as I know, you can do 2 things on your turn. I'll just very quickly check that again, because I don't want to be getting things wrong. It's one of my pet peeves, is getting rules wrong in a board game and then finding out right at the end that I've played the entire thing wrong. Yeah, so each turn you can make a cheese and gather resources, but obviously only in the section directly opposite you. I'm not sure what I'm going to want to do as I spin the board round to the Vils section, but I know I do want some buildings, so I think I'm going to use my soft cheese worker, but I'm going to pop him in the 2 slot. And that is the end of the round. At the end of the round, you spin the board. You'll all collect your workers up at the end of at the beginning of the round if anybody is facing you. Obviously the corporation doesn't have any, so it doesn't really matter for this particular playthrough about the solo mode there, but I do have this blue cheese worker facing me here, so I take him back, and now I can use that worker for an action again this round. And this time, oh sorry, I should have immediately gained those buildings, I've just realised, which I'm going to put there now. I do get to at any time use these to build these buildings at the top of my board here, so I'm going to use those immediately to create this, to create the kitchen that I have, and that will let me just get an order card by placing a worker on there, which I think I might do. Yeah, I'm going to place him on there, which gets me an order card, which I will place face up to this side of the board. I can complete these at any time. Obviously, if I've already done that, I then can't complete it. So for instance, this Roche Baron cheese is a blue cheese of bronze rarity. Bronze age, which I have technically created over in the bistro here, but because I've done it on a previous round, I can't cash that in. It would have to be, I get to cash that in when I complete it after I've received it. But I can't do that this round because I have actually used my blue cheese worker to get that card. I do have my hard cheese worker here. Oh yes, sorry, forgot to explain how the Vils section works. So this is France split up into 6 different areas, and whoever controls the area at the end of the game will score points based on these markers within them. So for everyone that's got 2 people on it, you'll score 4 points. I did, however, forget to do the order for the corporation first, so I'm going to flip that now. They have drawn the Bleu de Bresse, which is a rich buttery blue magic, and he is the corporation, are creating a blue cheese of bronze age, which is exactly what I have to do here, but unfortunately I have to do theirs first, so I believe there's only actually 1 available on this board here, because all of the spaces that are brown with the circle in cannot actually be made, so they're going to have to go in that one there and create that cheese. I would then take my go after that. Obviously I've already drawn this card, but I will now So I can create a hard cheese. Well, why not go in here for a jam? So I'm going to use this to create a jam and create this lovely hard cheese of Gold Age in Leon. And then that would be the end of the turn because I've taken my 2 actions here. And then I spin the board. So I immediately take back any workers that are facing me, which includes this blue cheese worker here and my soft cheese worker from the previous round. Now, just wondering what it is that I want to do. I don't get my hard cheese worker back for another 2 rounds, so I have to be very careful about what I'm collecting and placing here. But first and foremost, the corporation will take its turn. The corporation's really wanting to make blue cheeses, apparently. They are going to create the Bleu d'Auvergne cheese, which is a blue cheese of Silver Age, and that is possible to do here. I think they have multiple options. I'm not sure which one they go for. Let's have a quick check of the rules just to make sure I'm getting that right. Yeah, I just get to choose whichever one it happens to be. And based on what I know of the scoring for this, I'm going to place it down in this corner here. So for the festival section of the board, you score points based on how many connected spaces you have. These spaces with the French flag on count as wild and anybody can use them. But the more spaces you get, the more points you'll score at the end of the game if they're connected. So currently, the corporation here will be scoring, they've got 2 connected sections, so would score 2 points. Now, oh, and then that gets discarded. And then it would be my turn. I definitely need to make a cheese. Ideally a blue cheese of Bronze Age, but I can't do that because this one requires jam and I don't have any fruit, and unfortunately currently can't get any. So instead I'm going to use my blue cheese worker to go out here and get me 2 livestock. And then I can use 2 of these in this barn to create a blue bronze cheese just for free. Oh, I can't actually do that because I still need the jam. I'm still going to take the animals because I think they are very useful. But I might wait till a further round to cash that in. And I think I'm going to get my soft cheese worker into play and just make a bronze soft cheese here. And that will be the 2 actions that I have for the round. So it's time to spin the board. I do very much enjoy doing this. It's very satisfying. I know the premium version comes with like a mat underneath that you can turn it on, but it's just nice to just spin it as it is, I think. So I'm going to recover any workers that are facing me, which currently is just my soft cheese worker here. But he is doing good work. And then it will be the corporation's turn. Let's see what they're making this time. A soft cheese of Silver Age, the Chars. Definitely not saying that correctly. So yeah, a soft cheese of silver, which is either of these 2. I'm going to use it on this one here. It does get them 2 points at the end of the game, but I want to use this space, I think. Um, at the end of the game, for the fromagerie section of the board, you score points depending on how many different shelves you have cheeses on in the fromagerie. If you're just on one shelf, you don't get any extra points, but 2, 3, 4, 5, or all 6 shelves will get you more and more points depending on how many you have. You also score extra points on the right hand shelves. 1 point for bronze cheeses, 2 for silver, 3 for gold. And then on the opposite side, you'll get slightly different bonuses every time you play a cheese there. So this bottom section will let you trade out any resource for any other one. So that's up for playing any bronze cheese. Silver cheese just gets you any resource, and any gold cheese will let you pick up any 2 resources. So yes, the corporation has created that cheese. That will now get thrown off to one side. And I can only take one action this turn because I only have my soft cheese worker. But I do think it's worth me trying to make a soft cheese right now. But because I know I'm going to get those 2 workers back on the next round, I'm actually going to go up here and place that in the gold section, because that lets me get any 2 resources. I think I'm going to take a fruit because I feel like they're going to come in quite handy. And whilst I'm okay for animals for the time being, I'm going to grab a building because I want to start making a few more of these so I can start using them, I think. But that will be the end of my turn there, so spin the board. So I'm now back around to the first section of the board that I started play on. Because of what I previously played, I now get my blue cheese worker back and my hard cheese worker back. And then it is the corporation's turn once more. And this time it's another soft cheese of Silver Age, the Saint-Maur de Turan. Which is, oh, very interesting, a goat cheese rolled in wood ash. And can they create a silver soft cheese? They can, up at the top here. So that is another one down. The game will end when either the corporation or I have used up all the cheese wedges. So I guess we're going to find out what happens with that. The corporation has gone, so it's now my turn. I'd really like to get this completed, but it means using it here, and I don't think that that's the best use of my action. So I think what I'm actually going to do is create this silver blue cheese here and get that worker back in a couple of rounds. And then I'm going to collect another order, I think. Use my hard cheese worker there. So now I have the Emmental cheese, which is a hard cheese of Silver Age. So obviously I can try and complete that at a later point. So yeah, that is everything I've got, so I'm going to spin the board around to the veals section. The veal. I will collect my hard cheese worker back, but the other 2 are both facing away, so I can't do anything with them this round. So again, I'm only going to have one action. Let's flip the card. For the corporation, they have the Abondance cheese, which is a hard cheese of Silver Age. And that is available on here, up in Paris. So I'm going to pop that one down. Taking over a bit in this section of the board. So I'm not sure if it might potentially be best for me to abandon that, at least for now, because I only have one option of anything that I can do. And I can only create a hard cheese. And the only one, so I have the bronze one available here, which could actually be a good way to go. Yeah, I think I might do that actually. Let's go over here to Nantes and create that cheese. And then I shall spin the board. Okay, and this time every single one of my workers is facing back at me, so I get to collect all of them. Oh, making sure that this little cheese wedge stays in place there. Oh, sorry, I forgot to discard that before. The corporation did complete that. Let's get them a new cheese. Oh, so this time they're creating a blue gold cheese. There's only one available in the festival section, which is right there, so that's going straight in, unfortunately. Okay. So I've got all my workers back this time, so I can still only do 2 actions. So let's figure out the best way I want to go here. I think good option could be to make this fruit cheese here. So that should be a hard cheese. So I'm not going to see that worker again for a few rounds, which isn't necessarily the best thing to do, but I've got plans for the way that's going to work out for me, I think. And then, so I do have my livestock down here which I can put into any of these sheds to create a cheese for free. So I can create a hard cheese of Silver Age if I use all 3 of them, which would let me pop that in there, which I think I might do. So I just get to pop a wedge in there for free, and that does complete my Emmental. So I'm going to tuck that to that side. I'm going to do a quick check just to make sure I'm actually allowed to have multiple orders at any time. I can only assume that you are allowed to have more than... Yeah, I can't see anything that says you can't, so I'm going to run with that for now, I think. Okay. I still have an action that I can take, and I think I'm just going to pop my blue cheese worker in there just to get me another animal for use later in the game. Oh, it was completed. And then I'm going to spin the board. So the blue cheese worker immediately comes back to me, and then we shall take the corporation's turn. They're flying through their cheeses here. Oh, they're making a Gruyere this time. This is a hard gold cheese, and there is just that one spot left for them to do that. So they've completed another one of their goals. Okay, so I think I want to get this blue cheese quest completed here. So I'm going to place a soft cheese worker there, which gets me a fruit. Oh, actually I don't think I need to do that looking at it now. So I might actually pop it there to get 2 fruit, I think. So that's going to help me a lot more in later rounds. And then I'm going to create this cheese here. So I've created a bronze blue cheese, the Roche Baron. Pop that there. I do now get to discard a resource to get any other resource. So I think I'm going to discard this building to get another animal. 2 goats there that I've got now. Okay, that will be the end of my turn there, so let's spin the board. And back in the bistro. My blue cheese worker comes back. And then the corporation gets to go again. Oh, it's going to make a camembert this time. I feel like I'm getting very unfortunate that every single turn they're able to create their cheeses that they're after. But it is a soft cheese of bronze variety, so it can just slot right in there. That's another one that they've completed. Right. Is there anything that I would like my blue cheese worker to do here? So I can create a blue cheese of bronze variety there. But I can also get my goats just to do that for free for me. Yeah, I might do that. I think I'm going to put the goats into there, and you can only use these stables once, so now that that's done now. But I will place that in there. Oh, and then I've got to make sure I cover it with my worker. But that is the only thing that I can do, unfortunately. And then spin the board. I have once again made it so that all 3 workers are coming back to me. Oh, taking up the middle of the board now. And then another turn for the corporation. Okay, so this time they're making a soft bronze cheese, a brie. There are 2 available. I'd rather they went in that section, so they're not trying to compete with me for this green section here, because currently I do have control of that. I've lost control of the middle of the board a bit here, but I do have control of like the outer edge. And that's completed, and then it is my turn. I have no orders at the moment. And looking at the board, there's a lot of open blue cheeses and not a lot of hard cheeses, but a few soft cheeses. So I think I'm going to use my hard cheese worker to go and get 2 orders. And I have the Brie de Meaux, which is a soft cheese of Silver Age, and the Neufchâtel, which is a soft cheese of Gold Age. So if I want to complete any of those, it's time for my soft cheese worker to come into play. So there's 2 options I can take, which is to go Orleans or Rennes. Going here means that we'll be tying for this section, but I will be losing in this one. Going over here just provides me with extra support in the section over there. Oh, sorry, in Rennes. No. Because I could also go Strasbourg, but it doesn't help me complete either of these. I think I'm going to go and do the cheese in Rennes, because that also allows me to use a fruit. So that's getting towards extra points at the end of the game, but I have completed another order. That is the 2 actions that I can take, so I'm going to spin the board. no workers coming back to me, so I'm left with one again. Really feels like all of this game I've had either one worker or all three to use at any point. Don't seem to be very good at organising my workers. Right, let's do the corporation's turn. So they are making the Epoisse soft gold cheese. Is there one available? There is one right in the middle there. So they will create that, and they have now blocked me off a little bit from creating a bit of a run there. That's been completed, so it will be my turn. So there's a couple of spaces that I could take, which will lead me towards some points at the end of the game. I think I'm going to go into this spot here, which doesn't require any fruit or anything. Let's just go there, I think. And that's all that I can do. I'm going to spin the board around. Okay. So I'm going to collect these two workers back. And then let's take the corporation's turn. So they're looking at creating a soft gold cheese. Oh, it's another... Oh, did I just draw that off the top of there? I think I drew that off the wrong pile. There we go. It's the Cantal Affine, a hard gold cheese, which isn't available in this section of the board. So what you do with that card then is it sits on their board, and for every one of them that they have at the end of the game, it will score 3 points. Okay. Ideally I'd be creating a soft gold cheese, but that isn't available at the moment. And there are also no... Oh, I could create a bronze cheese, which I think I might do here. Which uses a fruit. I'm going to turn that one into jam. Just a few extra points at the end of the game. And there's a hard bronze cheese, so we'll pop that in there. So I'm going to get both of these two workers back next round. So I'm wondering if it's worth creating another soft cheese. Or gathering fruit. I think I'm going to go here and gather a couple of fruit. It seems like a lot of what's left requires fruit now. So let's spin the board. So I'm going to get my hard cheese and my blue cheese worker back. And then let's take another turn for the corporation. It's time for them to make the Fromage de Montbrison, a blue bronze cheese, of which there are none available in the bistro. So I'm going to flip that card and pop it onto there. So I'm only able to create 2 more cheeses for the rest of this game. Ideally, one of them is going to be a soft gold cheese on my next round. I think I might create this silver hard cheese using another fruit, which I'm gonna... Is that jam this time? It is. And this worker could go and collect resource for me. I think I'm going to go here to gather another order. And it's another soft gold cheese, the liver this time. Well, let's spin the board. I think we're probably going to be at the end of the game here. So I will retrieve my soft cheese and my blue cheese workers and take the turn of the corporation. So they are looking at creating a bronze hard cheese, the Reblochon, but there don't seem to be any available, which means it's going to sit on their board and score points for them at the end of the game. Now, I need to create a gold soft cheese, which is available up here in Orleans, which I am going to go and do. I believe the round where you play your last wedge. Yeah, so when that's the final cheese token's played, we finish the current turn, and then that will end the game. I'm going to complete. Oh, I've had the Neufchâtel for longer, so I'm going to complete that one, I think. I can't do anything else with my blue cheese worker, unfortunately. Reading through the rules, it recommends doing as much as you possibly can at the end of the game to try and score as many points as possible, but unfortunately I can't build anything else. If I'd have built the grooming house, that would have been very, very useful for me, but unfortunately this blue cheese worker can't really do a whole lot. So I think I'm just going to pass on that turn. There's no point going and collecting orders because I can't complete anything. So let's go to the book and find out how we score points at the end of the game. Okay, so all I need to do is go through each section one by one, score the points. So I will retrieve all my workers. Any cheeses that you've made, they don't need to mature in the last round of the game, they just count as being made. So I'm very quickly going to grab a pencil, which I have here. Don't necessarily need to, but I will pop my name in there. And then I'll go through and score each section of the board and then score points at the end down here. So first and foremost, the bistro. So you have to first of all check to see if you have any completed tables, which I do here. Because I have one completed table, that means I score points on this row. So I'll get 1 point for every bronze plate, for which I have 2. And I'll get 3 points for every silver plate, which I have another 2 here. So that's going to get me 3, 6, 7, 8 points for the bistro. It does have festival next, but I'm just going to spin the board to just score the next available section, which is the ville section. So here you score points based on whether or not you control the areas of the board. I'm just going to make sure once again that I'm getting this right, because having multiple different ways of scoring really changes things. Okay, so this bottom section here is controlled by me, as I am the only person that has any cheese is connected to this area. So I will collect that wedge, which is worth 4 points. This section we are tied, so that would just be equal at the end, scoring no points for either of us. I'm just going to work my way up the board. So the next section is this green one here, which I am in control of because there is no other cheese wedges connected to that section. This section is controlled by the corporation because they have 2 connected to it and I only have the 1. The purple section to this side of the board is controlled by me, as I have 3 things connected to that one and they have none. And then this top one here I took control of right at the very end of the game by placing my cheese wedge in Orleans there, so I will collect that one. So I will get 3 points for each of these, 4 points for each of the ones with 2, and 5 for the ones with 3. So it's 5, 9, 9, 15 points. Move on to the festival section of the board. So this is like scoring points for connected areas. Now I did have big plans for this, but unfortunately ran into a couple of roadblocks. But what I do have is a 4 connected section here, because the French flag sections count as anyone's. So I will have 1, 2, 3 and 4 sections. 4 connected sections is worth 6 points at the end of the game. Pop that in there. And then the final section of the board that I need to score is the Fromagerie, which gets you points for every shelf that you have cheeses on in the store. So I have 3 shelves covered here, which is worth 5 points. But this bronze shelf down here also gets me an extra point. So I will get 6 points for that. You also score points for your player board at the end of the game. I'm going to have a quick run through and check exactly how you score points for those at the end of the game. Okay, so it looks like there's only certain sections that will allow you to get points. So I don't score any points for my structures because I don't have anything to aid me scoring in that area at all. I do have points for fruit. So with the fruit you times the number of fruits by the number of jams to get a number of points. So I have 3 of each, so I'm getting 9 points there. Unfortunately don't get any for structures. Orders, so this is all your completed orders. I have 4 at the end of the game here. And there's a handy little tally which tells you exactly what you score for each different number of orders you completed. So I'm going to get 8 points for that completed order. And then the last thing you'll score for is you get 1 point for every 2 unused resources at the end of the game. I don't get any for that because I unfortunately only just have the 1 fruit left there. So I will get... Oh, actually I have an order card there, so I do get 1 point. Almost not worth putting down, but I do get it. So I'm going to do a quick tally up of the points that I've scored here. So I have 20, 35, 44, 52, 53 points I scored at the end of the game. And then I'm just going to do a quick check of exactly how the corporation scores. Okay, so the first thing it scores for is the number at the top here. So it gets 32 points straight away for that. It has 3 order cards here which are worth 3 points each, so that's another 9, so it's on 41 points currently. And the last thing that scores is the veal section of the board. And it is in control of this one section here, which will score it 5 points at the end of the game, which will put it on 46 points. So somehow, despite not knowing anything before jumping into this game, I have managed to beat the easiest difficulty solo mode. Well, like I said, this is going to be one that I think we're going to cover very soon for Boards and Banter because, well, like I said, I absolutely love cheese, so it's almost a perfect game for us to try out. But I really enjoyed playing this because there's so much to think about as you're going along. Like, even looking at it now, there's other ways that I would have tried to complete these things and do things differently. I'd have been collecting more resources probably than I did do, rather than just creating cheeses every single turn. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I started to really struggle on the amount of workers that I had. But it's definitely a very, very fun game to play. I'd really recommend it for people, but I can't wait to see what this is like playing multiplayer when every single person's taking their turns as one going on the board, all simultaneously placing their workers down to craft cheeses or collect resources. I can see it being utter chaos, especially as other people are going to be blocking the places that you want to go on. Like, obviously I had the corporation here occasionally getting in the way and blocking the spaces that I wanted to take, but going into the middle here and stealing the spots that you might want to take to get extra orders or buildings so you can craft these spots up at the top of the board, or getting livestock so you can make more cheeses just for free on your turn. Definitely a very, very fun game. But yeah, if you want to give it a go, try out Fromage. I'm really glad I picked this up, and I think I'm going to be playing a lot more of it in the future. But yeah, that's going to wrap things up for today, I think. I have a lot of games on our board game shelves that I'm going to be looking at trying to play. Most of them, obviously, aren't solo games, but anything that is playable solo, I'm probably going to give a go. Because I mostly like to just try it out playing it solo just to see if I like the game, and in this case, because I know we're going to be playing it soon, to learn how to play it. I think a solo mode's really, really good for that because it teaches me all the actions of the game without having to sit and watch a video or just plough my way through a rule book, which I'm happy to do. Sometimes I quite like reading a game's rule book because a lot of designers tend to put these little nods and jokes in it as well. And I mean, even just flicking through the rule book of this one, it all looks gorgeous, and I love the art on this as well because it just looks so nice, and it's everything in this rule book especially is very, very well explained. There's nothing that is really gonna take you out at all, make you like confused if you're just reading this rule book. But for me, I really like playing it solo just to get a feel for it. But yeah, if you've got any recommendations for games that I should potentially try out solo, shout them all out to me. I'm more than happy to try new things out because I'm always down for getting new board games. Yeah, obviously I've got a lot as it is, so I'm going to be dragging something else out next Monday. I'm hopefully going to be doing a stream a little bit earlier next time. This is a little bit later in the day because I had a lot on this morning. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I'm going to wrap things up there, and I'll see you all for some more solo board games next week. Thank you very much for joining me.